In relation to non-recourse financing, would you think this is feasible in the case of the exploration phase, i.e. before the extraction or the revenue phase? That's the first element of the question. And the second element of the question is, if non-recourse financing is possible, even in the, obviously, extraction or revenue generation phase, would you say international lenders like yourself, which are well known for project financing, would you be able to lend to the Lebanese, oil sector on a clean basis, which means without any political risk insurance or bank guarantees? Thank you.
Sorry, do you hear me? As I was just saying, the reserve-based lending, that is something that is very well known in the oil and gas industry, is something that starts just after when we are clear on the exploration risks. So for the first period, it could be difficult to envisage, and this is why normally it's taken place, it's sponsored by the equity of the operator in order just to, up until the time where you are for sure, you know that for sure you have something to extract. Because you still have, I don't know if you heard what was saying today, because there is the exploration, the certainty of having some oil, and then there is the sanction, because you can still decide to postpone it for a while, and then to just start pumping oil or extracting gas after a certain period of time. So you cannot just work on a reserve-based lending from the beginning. And when it comes to large institutional in the world, this is why I was telling about this SPV structure, the fact that when it's non-recourse, part of the reason why it's non-recourse is because the banks, if they want to get the best terms and the lengthiest period and work on the cash flow without taking some margin or some collateral, and maximize the benefit for the SPV, it's better if you ring-fence the country risk.
Another question, please. Yes, lady here.
Hello, my name is Sarah. I don't know if any one of you can answer this question, but it's about the Lebanese exchange rate, the currency rate. We all know.
Sorry, we are not hearing very well.
Okay, it's about the currency, the Lebanese pound exchange rate. Since it is pegged to the US, to the dollar, do you think the revenue or the flow, because of the petrodollar, would it have an effect on the currency, or will it always stay pegged?
It should be a positive effect, of course.
Yes, do you think it will appreciate? Will the currency exchange rate change?
No, we don't know, but what I can say is that the balance to payment will be certainly positive, is not in a surplus, and I think that over the time, yes, we will have. I don't think there will be an appreciation. It will be the continuation of a stability of the Lebanese pound as it was. I think that you can take other example in the Gulf countries whereby they were receiving huge amount of dollars during the last years, and the currency have not appreciated. It's a policy that might be okay. That it's a policy that of stabilization of the price of currencies that may be adopted, but maybe we have another point of view.
Well, one thing we need to be very careful about when we're talking about petroleum revenue is precisely the appreciation of the real exchange rate. Whether we appreciate the pound or we don't, if we keep the peg or not, what is going to happen effectively is an appreciation of the RER. And this means automatically that it's going to become more difficult to export our merchandise, and that it's going to be very tempting to import even more. And this is one thing that triggers usually imbalances that translates automatically into the lack of productivity of the economy. This would naturally push the economy to produce less and to consume more. And this is exactly the kind of things that we need to be very careful about when you're looking at dealing with petroleum resources and avoiding Dutch disease. Now, the issue of the peg and fixing it at 1515 or any other figure has nothing to do directly with the amount of dollars that we are receiving. It is, at the end, part of what I was trying to refer to of the mix between fiscal and monetary policies. At the end, when you want to appreciate your currency, you need to have very good reasons on the fiscal side to appreciate it. And therefore, this cannot be simply the fact of receiving more dollars because you are selling, once again, assets. The whole point of what I tried to say in the presentation is that precisely we don't want to sell those assets. We want to save the financial assets, and we want to get the returns from those assets. And therefore, we will be able to manage on the fiscal side in a much better way than what we're doing now. And the impact on the currency becomes very long-term. Thank you.
Yes, a last question, please.
Mr. Alain, my question is for you. You kept coming around to exports, the need to protect the export industry. We all know actually that the trade deficit is currently huge and we already don't have oil. So what do you think, what do you foresee are the measures to protect exports? Thank you.
For a start, one reason why we are witnessing this permanent increase in our deficit on the fiscal and the external balance is precisely that we are not producing anymore. You know, we've tried various issues. We've tried to decrease taxes. We've tried to boost whatever. We've tried public spending. What we need effectively is productivity. And whether we are producing enough now or not doesn't mean that we have to simply forget about export potential and production potential in the future. This is the only way Lebanon will be able to face what is coming to us in terms of job losses, in terms of redistribution of jobs that is taking place in the region. A country like Lebanon, looking at the Gulf and seeing oil prices slow down, would normally immediately react in boosting its productivity potential. Why? Well, very simply because we have a concentration of human workforce there, and we are not getting anymore as much investment that we would have expected in normal times. And this means that we need to find ways to create jobs and to create value. And there is only one way to do that, and that is to come back to productivity.
Thank you very much. I don't know if we may afford one last question, Mr. Assad? No? Last one, okay. Yes, very rapid. A question and not a comment, please.
This question is for Mr. Alain Bifani. If the Sovereign Wealth Fund is injecting money into the state budget for a small portion from the revenues of the fund, wouldn't it be financing indirectly debt, since debt servicing is a part of the expenditures of the fund, of the state budget? Thank you.
In this way, it is a tool to manage the debt. What we want to avoid is to use assets to redeem the debt, because that would be a loss on one side and a concentration of wealth on the other side. If I redeem the debt now, I'm giving all of these assets to a few people, and I'm taking it away from the nation. The purpose is to have assets in the fund and the returns of those assets being injected in the budget. And of course, if I'm in dire need for more funds, I can take some of them and I can bring them back when I'm in a good situation. This is the purpose of stabilization. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for Madam Aswad, Mr. Milki, and Mr. Bifani. Thank you very much.